Hello, welcome back to another episode of Somewhere Between a Film and TV podcast. We're your host. I'm Daniel Parr.
And I'm Erwin.
And number one, thank you so much for listening and watching. Number two, what are they going to do?
They're going to like, comment, and subscribe.
Please do.
Somewhere.
Erwin, what is it that we are reviewing?
Death of a Unicorn.
Death of a Unicorn, the brand new A24 Distributed film starring a lot of people, honestly.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
I'm going to try and wrap my head around how to go about this, but just remember, everything we review will always have full spoilers, but before we get into all of that, got to ask Erwin, what is this about?
Death of a Unicorn is about a father and daughter. I was going to say road trip. for the first like 10 minutes.
For the first 10 minutes of the movie, yeah.
But a father and daughter, they go off to like where Canada, I think it was.
Do they say? They say it's like, no, they make a passing comment about how it's stolen reservation land.
Okay, they go somewhere deep into the forest of like a well-endowed like family who's part of like this big pharmaceutical.
Well-endowed, huh?
Okay, like money. They have so much money. And for this job from the father. And while driving there, they hit a unicorn.
They do, yeah.
Yes, and they take the unicorn up to the family, and the family finds out, and they want to make money off of the unicorn, and then bad stuff happens.
And the way Erwin described this movie, just your tone of voice, I feel like...
You can already guess how I'm feeling.
Yeah, so I'm going to ask you a hypothetical in a second, but before I do...
I do believe in unicorns.
Honestly,
I like to believe in unicorns.
I like to believe in things that are beyond me. And they're like...
Me too.
Yeah.
A lot of mythical things too.
I believe in extraterrestrial creatures. ETs.
You are an alien, yes.
Erwin Trejo.
No, we both are aliens.
Yeah.
We're both aliens.
We were born here.
Yeah, it's all yes.
With this movie, did you love it? Did you hate it? Or are you somewhere between?
Hate is such a strong word.
It is
I'm somewhere between,
yeah.
But more on the dislike. I'll say
so, that. Yeah, you're going to ask me? Ask me really quick.
Oh, okay, sure. Did you hate it? Did you love it? Or are you somewhere between?
I didn't like it, but...
That's not any of the choices
that I know. That's There's... We go through this every time. I'm somewhere between on it, okay. But I'm also leaning more towards the negative side with the additive that there's a lot I kind of liked about it. There's one thing I straight up loved. His name's Will Poulter. And
mine's Paul Rudd, but I just love the actor.
But okay.
Okay, we'll get into it.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the positives. Okay.
The positives for me are... You want to go first?
I love the actor Paul Rudd. I emphasized on the actor part, not the character.
The character I like straight up
you know
didn't
what?
like, actually.
I just like the actors in this movie. They're all good actors that I love seeing.
Yeah, my first answer to you was going to be I love the cast. I love Paul Rudd, but I've had this issue with Paul Rudd before where I saw him in something where he was straight unlikable. It was a movie called Dinner for Schmucks from forever ago.
Dude, that came out like early 2000s.
Yeah, and I didn't like it. Yeah. And I remember Paul Rudd and Steve Carell's character were grating and annoying.
Oh.
And it's kind of, to me, it's kind of a strong feat in a not good way to make Paul Rudd's characters unlikable. But in this movie, he makes so many decisions at the first half that are so against Jenna Ortega's character that by the time it got to a point where he was starting to do, character development, it just wasn't working. I was like, you did a little bit too much on the negative side for me to think that this feels genuine. I love Jenna Ortega a lot. I think that she's unfortunately getting typecast due to the fact that she looks a certain age. And
it's kind of weird at this point. I'm not going to lie.
But I get it. Beetlejuice, I thought she was really good in.
Yeah.
Wednesday, I like a lot. But at least those, Wednesday's her own kind of morbid character. But
I mean, she typically she is being typecasted in the same role of just being this angsty teenager.
But in this one, did you get the vibe that she was supposed to be a teenager? I know she's 18.
Oh no, she's
in college.
Yeah.
And there's a point that they keep making where she keeps hiding her vape.
Yeah.
And I was like, am I how old are you supposed to be if you
Yeah.
can vape? It felt like a rewrite thing that they never fixed, and they just kind of like stuck with that.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, and then you think, oh, maybe Paul Rudd's character doesn't like that she vapes, but then there's also a plot point that Paul Rudd's not paying enough attention to her.
Yeah, so why would he even
So
like,
why would he
notice?
care? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so once...
Whoa, positives.
Oh, yeah.
It's like we were going on a date. I was like,
Will
positives,
Poulter's amazing in this.
Yes,
He's probably
I like Will Poulter.
He's probably the best part of it.
I'm excited to see how his career goes.
Yeah. What is he about to be in? He's about to be in Warfare. That looks really interesting.
Yes.
And
I saw like the whole cast got like tattoos.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
to get I hope that's great.
Me
But like
too.
I've heard it's getting that kind of reception that Civil War got, which we loved.
Oh, that's
so
true.
I mean,
I'm excited.
but here's the thing. Not the thing, but here's the thing. Sorry. But with this, I love the concept.
yes,
The concept
the idea is yes.
the concept inarguably is great.
Uh-huh.
Of course, though, have you seen Jurassic Park?
Absolutely.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and
Yes.
not,
I love
not,
all of them.
Not Rebirth or whatever it's called. That's what it's
Oh,
called. Right?
the new one?
Yeah.
No, not yet.
Yeah, I mean, how? But that and this concept, it's just the idea, the themes here. I guess if there are any, I feel like
Yeah.
to me, it repeated some of Opus's problems of like. I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself with the negatives.
Dude.
But it's just that like the concept's so great that I got
all
irritated.
right, we're gonna be
that-
all over the place then.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
Tell me your negatives.
well, the positives is some of the kills were interesting, but for a horror comedy based thing, I feel like they were really underwhelming simultaneously.
I just think the kills were underwhelming because of everything else around it.
Yeah, you mean
Because
because you
it's just
didn't
the build
care?
up. Yeah. So
What other positives do you
Positives.
have about this?
it was nice to see that they didn't really use CGI. Sometimes like I can think of 2 shots where they
Yeah.
didn't use CGI for the unicorns. That was pretty cool.
When the baby one was like lying on the ground. And,
yeah. I was like, yeah, that looks real.
It's just yeah, I mean yeah, it definitely did. And I mean I saw the behind the scenes
Yeah.
thing where it was obviously there.
I like the idea where like they touch the horn and
Oh,
like
and-
they get like I don't know, it's just was like the whole hit of like the universe in a way, like,
Yeah,
or something.
that's such an interesting
Yeah.
idea.
I wish they explored that more and not just
I wish they
about the
would have.
mom.
I was gonna say I wish they would have explored it instead
Yeah.
of giving us this explanation that made next to no sense.
Yeah.
And it's just like I don't know if you're gonna come at this with the sense of why are you viewing it that way? It's just supposed to be like a horror comedy and not
Yeah.
that serious, but it still presented these ideas. I still felt like
They're still
it's
good ideas.
trying to be a lot. It's
Yeah.
trying to be a horror comedy satire and doesn't really do any of them that successfully. It does all of them, but to say it does them successfully, I'd be lying to you. And this was one of those movies that came out of the South by Southwest festival circuit. Of course, the first night, I know that typically one of the problems that festival movies have is the whole cast is there. And so naturally, you're amped up because you're seeing a movie early. And so by the time you get to it, us, the audience that, sees it opening weekend, we hear all these things from the initial reaction. We're like, oh my God, it's amazing. It's so groundbreaking.
Yeah.
But then by the time you get to it without, people call it like the festival lens. And then we're just like, maybe if I saw this with a better crowd. But the thing is, I did see this with a good crowd. I told you that I kind of caught myself at a point
Oh my god.
where I was watching it and I noticed people were like laughing pretty hard at some stuff. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not. I was like,
Oh wait, like in your theater?
Yeah.
Oh.
yeah, no, I had like a really
Yeah.
responsive crowd. And I thought that might have helped me out a little bit.
No, I didn't get that
Not
from
really,
my
yeah.
crowd as well. I think that I'm trying to think what other things that I liked, but I don't know. I want to talk about the negatives, to be honest.
I liked Tia Leone.
I liked her.
and-
Yeah, I liked her too.
And I really liked this ongoing bit with Will Poulter where the more he snorts the powder, the smarter he gets.
Yeah.
That was really funny. It went nowhere, but
No.
I liked that concept a lot. Okay, so if we're going to get into negatives,
Yes.
can I tell you what I was thinking while I
Yes.
was watching this? People talk about the concept of posers, right?
Of
Like
what?
posers. Like, oh, I'm so cool, the whole idea of
Oh.
acting like you are sort of something that you're not.
Yeah.
This to
But
me.
what if you are?
But what if you are that? Then
But
be
what if
that.
you are cool?
Oh, well, then be that. There are going to be people that don't agree with me on this. Some people are going to think this is super cool. Some people are going to
like the movie?
Yeah, the movie. I'm making it like an equivalent exchange here. But if you feel like you're a poser in real life, no, you're not. Believe in yourself. But
couldn't you say that about anybody else?
You can say that about. That's kind of how.
I'm confused.
That's kind of how opinions work.
I'm confused.
But
how can you say it to one person and the other person?
I'm not saying it to people. I'm saying it to this movie.
Okay. So you're saying this movie's a poser?
I'm getting to it. I feel like back in the 2010s, there was this whole like that song that's going on right now. The "We Are Young." That's right.
What are you talking about?
The people know what I'm talking about.
Who's the people?
Okay. I'm going to go through this explanation.
We are the people?
No, I'm going to go through this explanation. It's going to take me a minute. Bear with me.
All right.
In the 2010s, this is a song by Kyle Gordon that's trending right now. It's all over the internet.
Okay.
Where it's making fun of those like songs like "Tonight We Are Young," "We're Gonna Set the World." I do too, admittedly. But the other ones where it's like the boom clap Mumford and Sons.
Oh, okay, like that time. Yes.
The hipster vibe.
Yes.
This movie felt misplaced to me. It felt like this would have been revolutionary if it came out in like that era of 2012, and it felt to me like it was dying to be a cult movie that like is gonna catch on. They're gonna be like, oh my god, have you seen Death of a Unicorn? It even has the title set in and everything. Especially, it rang for me that it felt like that with the unicorn grabbing horn thing, with the kind of like intentionally green screen looking trippy background. That it felt to me like they were going for like, oh my god, have you seen this? And
I don't know.
They like,
I kind of don't like that as well. Like knowing that if a movie came out at a certain time, that
it would have been
bigger and like better to watch, just because you would think that a movie could be timeless.
You would think so, right?
Yeah. But even because no matter like when it came out, right, and I don't even think it would matter too if this movie came out like.
Do you think it would still be?
I think it would probably be a cult classic. Yeah, I could see that happening.
I just don't like when movies feel like they are trying to go for being a cult classic, especially when this movie already has like an A-list cast. Yeah, it's kind of not possible. Yeah, unless sometimes you do go through an actor's career and you're like, oh my god, this actor was in this, and then they were already really famous. Either it was like buried down, released years ago, whatever it may be. But then to me, it also feels like this sort of movie is trying to evoke that reaction of, I hate when people say this, where it's like, oh my god, have you seen Death of a Unicorn? I can't believe that they would make something like that. Do you think that they were high whenever they wrote something like this? I can they were like, that. Nobody in their like sober mind would do something like this. They're like, do you know
an original idea?
Yeah, and you're like, dude, what?
Hey guys, see, original movies come out. They really do. Just nobody watches them.
This is an original concept. It just borrows heavily from a billion things, but I can't call it unoriginal. I have to say, like, for all my complaining, the unicorn concept alone is pretty cool. Yeah. All the folklore, that stuff's awesome. Apparently that's like all real, so... But that's another positive of mine. I like the unicorn depiction that when they get angry and they turn like a different sort of manifestation of themselves.
Oh, yes.
They don't
like a different color?
Yeah. That, their design is different. They're more monstrous. The whole folklore-based thing that they're going through to find what is different or whatever it may be. I liked all that stuff.
Yeah, that's true. I did like that stuff as well.
What are your negatives? I feel like you like...
Dude, yeah, I mean... okay, I think my negatives for sure... My main one is the father and daughter dynamic. It just because this whole movie, it was definitely focused on that aspect. And it's weird knowing that the main drive with this movie is just their relationship. Yeah. And how it just grew over this movie. And I did not feel the chemistry, or not even chemistry. I mean more so like their relationship with one another. Like it wasn't well spent. It was just more them just bickering at one another. Like, you're not listening. Yeah. And I was like, money, 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 and like you gotta make sure everything's fine. Money. And so I was like, okay, like when am I gonna get to the parts where they showcase to each other like they really care? And you kind of got a glimpse of that at the very end when he's like, or you go second, like you go and like save yourself, and I'll distract the unicorn.
Yeah.
And especially at the end too, where Paul Rudd like kills Will Poulter.
Will Poulter, yeah.
And so then he dies and everything, and then all this and that. But like, it just didn't feel very emotionally invested into like their relationship.
Dude, when we complain about this sometimes, when movies do that thing where they try and give you that kind of relief, that sense of, oh, we went on this crazy adventure, the resolution's here, here's your emotional response, and by the end of it, you're supposed to care for Jenna Ortega and Paul Rudd's development with each other. And then they're having that like heart to heart at the end where the unicorns are staring out, and then it's like it's implied the police car tumbles.
Yes.
And you're like, oh, they love each other now, blah blah blah. But then when it doesn't work, it feels so weird. To me.
It just felt like the entire time it was forced.
Yeah.
Like you're meant to be father and daughter, and not a genuine like.
And what's weird is they're both great actors, and I know that they're both great actors, and.
I feel like the family, like the pharmaceutical family, had, I believe, them being an actual family more so than like
they
Paul
definitely
Rudd and Jenna
no.
Ortega.
What was so weird about how unlikable the main guy got?
Yeah,
like I mean, his death is broadcast a million miles away.
Yeah,
like exactly when he's gonna get his comeuppance and when it's gonna happen. I do one other positive thing. I really liked the visceral feeling you get when you can see that he's eating the unicorn meat, because everybody's just looking at him like, "What the hell is wrong with you?"
Yeah,
I thought that was great, and also the way they made the meat look, it's like a really gross like purple. I like that they didn't even tell you how that tasted, but apparently, the way they talked about it, you piece together it's probably like the best thing he's ever tasted, and the fact that like he's not really reacting like that, I liked that. There's small details like that.
They do have a lot of details in this movie where they just kind of casually just talk about things with just about the unicorns themselves, which I really liked as well.
I really liked that. It's just when it came to the humans, because I know what your next critique's probably going to be, but before we get to that, with the whole thing as well, right when they start off, Paul Rudd to me is supposed to come off unlikable, but carried by the fact that it's Paul Rudd. However, I think that being him might actually be a disservice to the character. Yeah. Because you need somebody, I think, a bit more unlikable portraying for a role like that.
Yeah. Someone with like a stern look. Like, no, I need to do this for us type of thing. And every time we try to showcase that, it didn't come off that way. Just because of the balancing of the different tones as well. Yeah. Because there were so many moments where it's like definitely horror aspect, but then comedic. But then also very serious. Yeah. To like build something with one another, and I just don't think it was balanced well. Because I thought of another scene whenever Jenna Ortega was like leaving at the very end, when Paul Rudd's like, "All right, you leave. I'll distract the horse," and then it felt very emotional. Yeah. Right. But then it just cuts to Jenna Ortega just falling, going, "Ow!" and just falls. And I'm just like, okay.
And then it's kind of funny because it immediately tonally shifts to being funny again, and that is such a tricky balance anyway, which is funny because me saying this again, even though like I was telling you, or we both said this, Opus felt like so many other things. Yes. This felt like Opus, which felt like so many other things. Yeah. And both of these things came out like, when did we even review that? 2 weeks ago?
Opus, yes.
Yeah. So like these are not that far apart from each other.
Are they both A24?
Yes, yeah. Which is why whenever we titled that video is A24 out of ideas, I know what I was doing when I did that.
No, you didn't. Right where that comment was, you're right.
They are distributors. We know that. I'm going to go ahead and say this out loud.
Puts it in the title.
But it's so clear. The title is they are distributors. They lean towards ideas though. Don't deny it. Like
they go for ideas, guys. Trust
they do. Me. Like I'm just saying. And then warfare looks like civil war, and that looks good. Don't get me wrong, but it's just also this. I kept thinking of a movie you love a whole lot. Jurassic Park.
I love Jurassic Park.
Did it not just feel like Jurassic Park to you?
No, because I love Jurassic Park.
Okay, but did it feel like somebody watched Jurassic Park half asleep and then was like, I could do that? And then
yes. Okay. Yes. After you pointing out like it felt like Jurassic Park, I was like, yeah, I see it now.
Like Jenna Ortega is so clearly Jeff Goldblum to me in this, and I'm trying to, like, I kept on trying to come up with equivalents. I was like, Taya Leone's in Jurassic Park 3.
Yeah.
And Will Poulter's probably...
but the Spinosaurus, though, is awesome in that
I do like... That's probably my favorite dinosaur.
Whenever the Spinosaurus finds the Alan Grant and the other kid, and he just stands there like this, breathing.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, sorry. Now
Jurassic Park 3. Honestly, Jurassic Park 3 is kind of a guilty pleasure. For me.
I would.
But I do like that. Also, 2's good.
Yeah, I like 2.
And I think I like Jurassic World more than most people. But
yeah, I still like Jurassic
the first one, not the second half of that movie's okay. Third is bad. But
the third one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I just like the third one a lot just because they brought back the old cast. So
they don't do anything with them. You know what?
Stop! Don't do that to me.
We're off topic. We'll have to talk about Jurassic Park when we have to talk about it. But
I can't wait for that.
With this, what else did you not enjoy about it?
What I didn't enjoy was also the scientist, too.
Either of them?
It felt like they were just given a lot of screen time.
Yeah.
And that wasn't necessary.
Okay.
There was a lot of characters in this movie.
There were, and that house is beautiful. Here's another positive of mine. That house was beautiful.
Yeah, that's it. I don't give a fuck about the house, guys. Really? I didn't care. But
me, like, what did I like? What did I like?
Oh yeah, like that piano was cool, right?
Oh, yeah. You can pay attention to interior design.
I think I wish they spent a little bit more time with certain characters of the movie and not having so many around.
Something weird that I think tying into your point about that. This movie just chooses to focus on... Yeah, it's like an hour 40.
Yeah, and I think it's weird because if it was a bit longer, I could see it being like, this movie's too long.
Yeah.
But if it was a lot longer for certain types of, like, character points, then yes, that'd be great.
I want to bring out a reason why I do think it should have been longer, though. I left this movie and I was like, I don't really know a lot of these characters.
Yeah,
like Will Poulter plays the douchebag stock bro archetype. Whether he knows about stocks or not, I don't think so. But like, he fits into that, right? Yeah. I liked that joke was weird, but I thought that was actually funny. Paul Rudd and Jenna Ortega have a wishy-washy relationship that pays off by the end of it. Does it really, though? No.
I didn't believe it.
But outside of that, what do I know about Paul Rudd outside of no, I mean that's Paul Rudd's character. Yes. What do I know about the guy outside of the fact that he's like, I lost my wife.
Yeah, and now I got to make sure we have enough money so I can take care of you. You can do your thing.
And then by the end of it, it's like, maybe I was thinking about the wrong things, and you're like, all right,
okay, dude, we get it, man.
And then
so your daughter doesn't care about money.
They just fit into these written stereotypes of typical characters that we piece together because we watched just a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I know this type of character is based off of that, and it relies on that probably too heavily. If it just wanted to be a straight monster movie, you do not care about the characters. We've given great reviews on movies like that.
Oh yeah.
We just Godzilla X Kong.
That was last year.
It was last year, and we gave that a really high score
because it was focused on the monsters.
Yeah, and it was fun, and we can acknowledge that different monster movies go for different things. And I kind of forgot this was a monster movie. It falls under that.
Yeah, that's true. And I didn't think it was much of a monster movie because of the lack of the unicorns that were shown. Especially there was 3 unicorns.
Yeah,
one of them was decapitated, but
they implied the one was a mom and dad.
Yeah,
that's
they were both like mom and dad, but they were both not shown as much in the movie.
Yeah,
which I guess maybe if they did, could have been different.
I can say the positives about them is they have a really strong, menacing presence. When they show up, you are scared of them.
Yes.
And along with that, though, outside of that, also I like the design for the young one. I feel like there was a kind of creativity to those. What didn't work, though, is you mentioned the scientists are a huge focus on this. Why? I don't know either. And
I think because they were giving a bit. At first, I didn't mind it. Yeah. But later on, they were given more screen time until one of them dies. And then now we were focused on this other scientist, like that one lady as well.
And, honestly, the way she dies, I knew what they were going for, but I was like, unwarranted, number one. And I was like, I don't know if the movie itself was trying to depict that whole like weird scene in Jurassic World where that woman gets like ripped apart for like no reason, and then people learned later that it's because she wanted the most gruesome death possible, and so they like gave her one. Because a lot of people, I remember watching that initially too and being like, that scene is so mean for no reason at all. And apparently it was supposed to be, and I couldn't help but think like, oh, maybe this actress wanted the same thing. But then I was also like, but if we're going by who gets it the worst when they get killed, it was her. Yeah, and so I thought that was weird, especially considering that Will Poulter's character, you're supposed to like, it feels like one of those moments where you're supposed to clap because he finally dies. He just gets kicked in the head and he dies,
and it's just
basically.
over.
Yeah.
So
same goes for like the main antagonist. The way he dies, I did like that. I like that death a lot, where he gets like,
oh yes,
I thought that was probably my favorite one out of all of them. But one other tangent to tie into that, based off of that, is it's kind of ugly. This movie's kind of ugly.
Yeah, a lot of it was, yes. Well, anytime it was like they touched the horn and they went to the universe too, and then anytime some shots with the unicorns, with the mom and dad, I don't know, it just kind of looked off as well. I'm trying to think what other else was there any like greenery?
There was.
Yeah, that I saw. I was like, I didn't like that.
The moment...
I remember confusing with, like, Electric State.
I mean, that... Yeah. Don't even get me started. But, like, the third act, there is some stuff with the backgrounds where, like... I mean, sometimes we do suffer from that thing where we're like, is this even real or is this just shot weird?
Yeah.
But, like, Snow White had that, too. Mm-hmm. But the whole thing about that, though, is sometimes it did feel just like green screen in the background. Whether it was or not, I don't know. Mm-hmm. But then that's also kind of a disservice of the cinematographer if everything's super flat, and that's been more of an issue we've been bringing up lately. Actually, I feel
that's true. I don't know if it's. I wonder how the money, whenever movies get like a certain amount of money, where it's distributed to mostly.
Yeah,
you know, especially if a lot of movies get a huge budget, like $300 million.
I mean,
and you wonder like where it goes.
State?
Yeah, and you're like, where does this go?
An offshore bank account, probably, so a bunch of people can get paid way more than they're supposed to. Whatever Netflix creative was like, make Electric State. But outside of that, do you have anything else?
Okay, a positive I would say is that I like the fact that I was stuck in like one location.
Oh yeah, I
love it when a movie stays with one location, then just going like everywhere, type of thing. Just because you don't feel overwhelmed, and you can just focus a lot on like the environment itself. So like when you brought up the house too, I was like, yeah, I mean, sure, whatever, but it's cool that they got to stick into like this one area and just stayed around it.
A movie like this, the reason why I compliment something like The House. By the way, Anthony Carrigan, who I love from Barry, is amazing in this.
Oh, yeah,
he's one of the best parts. Yeah. But I completely forgot he was in it. But like he has some of my favorite jokes because he's the one that talks the least. So he gets to like be entirely like non-verbal for most of it and just says stuff sometimes, but it's always funny. But with a movie like this, you need to know the layout of the house in the first place. It's why they show that initial overhead shot where they're walking in. You can see the layout of where everything is. So us as the audience, we know where everything is. And I like credits to them. You know exactly why there's that scene where the gate has to open and close. You know exactly who is where and why that's such like a dangerous task.
Yeah.
And that's really smart. Like horror movies or horror adjacent like this is, Don't Breathe does the same thing where you kind of learn the layout before any of the actual action happens. That way you're acquainted with everything. Same with like Panic Room, for example, too. But that's why, I mean, I like that. Green Room, yeah. Great movie also. But, I mean, I don't know if this is me discrediting this movie or just like an expectation thing. But I feel like a movie like this wants to make a statement, and I left this movie thinking nothing.
What the statement was? What? Don't hurt animals?
That, and something about like human greed, probably, and
that's with every like wealthy family.
I know, but that's why I'm telling you that this trope, much like the unicorn in this, is beaten to death. Nice. And see, isn't that good, right?
It was, yeah.
It's just like, I've seen this point a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you can't make it again. I'm just saying we did just see this.
Yeah.
But by the same studio.
Maybe it's also maybe if they just took a step back too and just focus on one tone, maybe just two and that's it throughout the whole movie, and I just have a jungle of sorts.
I feel like it could have been straight satire and it could have been really funny, or it could have been a straight horror movie and see if you can make unicorns scary. That is a challenge all on its own.
Yeah.
Which could have been interesting. I mean, hell, there's a scene in this that I think is great where it uses lighting where there's a shadow of the unicorn that's slowly moving behind. That's great. I thought that was super effective. And then as much as they start focusing on him for no reason, when it pierces like straight through Stephen Park's character and you see it like go straight through him, that's great. That's super effective. But I don't know, it's just weird because like the overall me complaining about the themes and stuff, I don't know if again it was just me like, do I expect this from a studio like A24 or is that just like me wanting too much out of this? But I don't know. I mean, they brought it up, not me.
Yeah.
I didn't make it. So I don't know. But
I don't know, this movie itself though, I think it was definitely a movie from like a point A to point B.
Yeah.
And I felt like I don't have a lot to say about this movie too, because it was just very clear cut on what it was trying to say and do. Especially whenever they introduced this every individual character as well. Like, you can identify who they are, what they are, and who's gonna live.
Yeah.
Right? And throughout all that, it's just very I don't know, it's just very straight to the point with like everything it was trying to do. So there's just like not much for me to say besides just like the look of it.
Yeah.
But
this does also make, but I think is my like last thing I can say. This does also make an early 2000s horror movie mistake. You don't care about anybody. Like, if anything, you're kind of just waiting to see, like, okay, who's dying?
Who's going to live?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just... Overall, what'd you think?
That was okay.
Yeah.
That was fine.
And that's so sad.
Yeah. It's just one of those movies where I didn't want to come in with expectations, but I loved all the actors and actresses beforehand.
Yeah, it's hard to not.
Yeah.
Like, especially with... I'll let you wrap up your thoughts. I gotta look up the director of this really quick.
But I think it was just that. Having very little to no expectations, and even then it just was still a letdown for some reason. I just felt disappointed.
Yeah. I mean, we've spoken about this so much. Alex Scharfman is his name, the director of this.
Who the hell is Alex Scharfman?
I'm not sure. Oh, this is his directorial debut. Oh. Sorry, man.
Hey, good luck.
But
hey, good luck to your next one.
You'll get him next time.
I am happy though that A24 is like trying to like release movies.
Yeah.
That's not connected to like a franchise or a remake too. So
okay,
props to them.
Yeah. Caveat is this: please don't stop making original movies.
Yes.
And I mean, hey, make them.
Is this movie making money?
No.
Damn it.
I was reading about its box office, and it was like. It was making a pun about unicorn can't pierce the box office or whatever.
That's
but
not
like,
bad.
Yeah.
Wait, what about Snow White? What did they say about Snow White?
It's just like Snow White flops.
That sucks.
Like, come on, guys. Like, there's something.
There's gotta be something good out there.
We'll look it up later.
Okay.
But I'm sure that there has to be.
It's
like Snow White can't cast a magical box office. Probably shit that they're saying, but like.
You can say that with like every Disney princess.
I know. Snow White dwarfs the box office. That's a pun. But yeah, it's
we're
fine.
We're getting there.
There's something there.
Flops. And it's bad.
It's straight to the point. Death of Unicorn is not very good, but it's also not that bad either. I just didn't. If you were like, "What should I go see this?" We keep bringing this up. I'd be like, "Do you want to?"
I love seeing movies in theaters, but this one I wouldn't mind not seeing it in theater.
I wouldn't mind not watching it at all.
Yeah.
You would have seen it anyway.
I would have seen it regardless, but I wouldn't have cared if it was in theaters or not.
Yeah.
So.
I'm looking forward to every person in this, what they do next.
Yes.
I've heard that the Paul Rudd, Tim Robinson movie is incredible. I'm so excited for that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And anything any of them do. And A24. Mm-hmm. Like, it sucks because you're like, thank you for making something creative and original, but also maybe something better next time.
Yeah.
Overall, what's your score?
A 3.
Yeah.
3 out of 5.
Man, I wanted to give it that, and in my like, if we would have reviewed this right after I saw it, I probably would have, but I can't do it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna give this a passing score.
Yeah, I don't even think it's passing. I think it's very like Oh, that's not even mid. I'm gonna say 2.5.
I mean, yeah, I'm giving it
2.5.
I'm giving it that too.
2.5. Just because I'm very like, okay.
Yeah, because 3's passing, right? That's what we.
I'd
three's
say
passing for us.
Yeah.
2.5 out of 5. Like, I'm not mad at it. I'm just also like, we talked about zero expectation and stuff, but I also left just like, fuck.
Yeah, like damn. I can see why people would get expectations.
Yeah.
Especially for us since we watched.
It had a great trailer. Yeah.
Yeah. I like the song.
And yeah. And we also, if you look back in our reviews where we bring this movie up, we're like, oh, we're so excited for it.
Now look at us.
Overall, what did you guys think of Death of a Unicorn?
I want to know.
What we do want to know, because I've seen that audience score is at like 78%.
For some reason, I don't know why.
Some people.
What's really what you said though? The festival lens, most likely.
Yeah. And yeah, what'd you guys think? What are they gonna do?
They're gonna like, comment, and subscribe.
What's up next?
A Magazine Dreams.
Magazine Dreams. That's gonna be super interesting, specifically for us to talk about.
Yeah, that's true. I think we have a lot to say about
it.
Yeah.
In a different way than this, but thank you guys so much for listening and watching. We will see you next time.